How do we want to start this off?
With a bang.
With a bang. Okay. I'm going to start it off by introducing you, Miss Rose Timmer, and Shiann as well, and then I will start off the topic, and then we'll go.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Health Yes, here at Cameron County Public Health, where we talk about all things public health and more. I'll be your host today, Javier Ch, and joining me at the table is Miss Shiann Moraida, Director of the Healthy Brain and Aging Program. And our guests today are Miss Rose Timmer and Marija Jette from the Healthy Communities of Brownsville. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're happy to be here.
Yes, we're glad to be here. Yes.
Alrighty, so today we'll be talking about advocating for older adults in Cameron County. So let's go ahead and start off by, you can go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about where you come from, what you do, and what you're here to talk to us about.
Okay, so I'm Rose Timmer, and I run a nonprofit called Healthy Communities of Brownsville. And we advocate for seniors in Cameron County. And we surveyed about 1,000 seniors who gave us information as to what they want, what they dislike, what they want things to do for the elderly. And they're a very important part of our community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Shiann Moraida. I am the Healthy Brain and Aging Program Director here at Cameron County Public Health. And we are very excited to have Miss Timmer and Miss Marija joining us today. They have been wonderful advocates and community partners for our senior support specialist, dementia resource specialist, and our overall program. And so we're very happy to talk about the amazing work that they do for our community and really highlight the importance of the information of bringing awareness to our older adults in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is Javier Ch. Everybody calls me Maki. I am actually just a coordinator and number two to Miss Timmer. We've been working together on different projects with our elders in the community, writing grants, and of course interfacing with Cameron County Public Health and other partners to make lives of seniors in the Rio Grande Valley better.
Nice to have you as well.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I would love to ask you, Ms. Timmer, and I've always wanted to ask you this. Where did your interest or desire to start helping to bring this light, bring this awareness on the needs for older adults in Cameron County came from?
I have to tell you, I was at a doctor's office with my husband, who is 12 years older than I am. Mm-hmm. And there was a lady at the counter with a girl with a screen between them, a glass screen between them. And the lady did not speak English. The girl across the screen didn't speak Spanish. So I saw the frustration, the lady getting upset. She was ill, obviously not feeling well, and nobody could give her help. I got up and tried to translate as the best I could, but she went away very frustrated. Mm-hmm. And I looked around the audience, the people that were there, and they were elderly. They all had something wrong with them, including my husband. Mm-hmm. Diabetes, dementia, hard of hearing, hard of understanding, not being able to focus. And I thought, we've got to do something for these people because they're important. Mm-hmm. I have never thought of myself as an old person. I'm 72 years old, but I don't think of myself as an old person. But there are a lot of old people who are very aware of their ages and their deficiencies, I guess you would say. So I thought, I've got to get together with some people. Mm-hmm. And we did. We had a meeting, created a coalition, called it the Senior Advocacy Coalition with my partner, Kendra Stein. She's the president for Healthy Communities of Brownsville. And we said, what can we do? Well, let's just invite everybody that's on my email list. Mm-hmm. And we had about 40 health professionals who either work for doctors or provide services, Cameron County service. We never had Hidalgo because I don't do that territory. But we all got together and said, yes, there is a need for somebody to speak up for them. And that's basically what the Senior Advocacy Coalition does. And that's how I met Shiann.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you have any interesting stories to share from your experiences with Miss Timmer?
You know, it was an amazing experience being informed from clinical services with Miss Veronica, who shared, the Senior Advocacy Coalition, and it just truly did open up, my eyes in regards to, first, what other resources, what other organizations were out there, all trying to do the same thing. And that was, exactly what you're saying, the mission of bringing help, bringing these connections for older adults in the community and addressing those deficiencies.
Deficiencies, yes.
Right. And with you seeing deficiencies, I would love if you could highlight, what have you noticed, or what in your, current experience, professionally, personally, would you say are the most urgent issues older adults are facing in our community right now?
Information. They don't get enough information, or it's miscommunicated to them. Because our population in the Valley, or at least in Brownsville, is 37 years old. So that leaves a lot of old people out there. We don't get a newspaper. We do have television news in English and Spanish. That's another thing, is our culture. When people started talking about Alzheimer's, everybody talks about it now. Everybody has Alzheimer's. If they they forget where their keys are. But before, it was just, oh, that's the way that aunt is. She's just a little forgetful. Just ignore her, In our culture, we take care of our own.
Right.
But kids move in with the parents move in with them, help them with the kids. So we're very fortunate that way, I think, because you won't find that in other cultures. They'll put you in a home or keep you isolated. But what was the question?
What are some of the most urgent issues?
Oh, the most urgent issues that I found, and we found, and Maki can attest to this, is health resources, agencies that can provide medical relief, transportation, education, just knowing what is going on. My husband was diagnosed with diabetes, and they said, yes, you have diabetes. Thank you very much. And we walked out of there and didn't know what the heck to do. So I looked it up because I could, because I had a computer, because I had resources. And that's where older people don't have that. What do I look? To me, diabetes was, okay, Craig, you're going to have to stop eating candy.
Right.
It's a lot more than that, And I think our survey, Maki, verified that health issues and transportation are the biggest problem that we have.
That's a disparity, and when you're thinking about limitations, especially in communities where, again, we don't have a lot of information, like the southmost area in Brownsville, is that there's a lot of mystery areas where the people are just not informed, not connected, and that really doesn't do us any service as community members and also as families, and what Rose was saying about information and it being bilingual, people not being scared of actually getting something, reading something, and then being able to read it, having it be accessible. Clear contrast, large letters. That's another thing that people need to be educated on. If we want to communicate, medium is the message. There's a lot of people on Facebook. There's a lot of people that stay apprised just by word of mouth.
Right.
But one thing that the AARP community friendly survey did unearth is that we have a real disparity in health services down here, and people wanted more hospitals, more clinics, more community centers for the senior centers in particular, and walkability and transportation are real issues, especially in the communities that don't even have, trash collection or don't have water. the colonias. And Rose can expound further on because she has much more experience.
Yeah. We tend to not forget, but the older people are kind of put aside. Our culture does not say forget about them, because I'm sure you call your grandmother every day, don't you?
Well, me not particularly, no, but it's more because of a distance thing. Like my grandma's all the way in San Luis, so like keeping up with them is a little difficult.
Yeah.
But for the most people, usually it's you don't call your grandparents enough.
Right. Right. And so we found that they really like that, the social part of being included. Even it's to say, how do you make a pot of beans? They will tell you. How do you sew this? How do you stitch something? That interaction is worth hundreds, thousands of kudos to everybody that's involved that. I see it every day, and every day that we get up, we should be very grateful, very thankful, very blessed that we get up. But we need to make a difference in their lives, because it is shorter than what our lives is. Our lives as regular, normal adults, 37 years old,
Yeah.
So.
And then also like that form of communication, that form of simple communication was the norm for them.
Yes.
So that was more common for them, versus nowadays everyone's on a phone, social media, we're all glued to a screen these days.
Yes.
And that leads to the lack of communication.
The computer has taken over our lives, and call it what you will. The iPhone is a wonderful computer in your little hand, and it gives you a lot of information. It got us here today, or find a Starbucks. So, but
see that?
Right? You can see that. We found a Starbucks, but it's just important to reach out. And I have to tell you, when I'm at a doctor's office or I'm at a social event or anything, I always say to the elderly people, I know doctors come in and they say, what's wrong? And you say, after waiting for 45 minutes in the waiting room, oh, nothing. I just wanted my prescription filled. I have some aches and pains. Okay, well, we'll get those done for you. And out the door. Stop them. You can stop them. Tell them, I want to talk to you. Yes. I want you to listen to me. And people go, yeah, I don't know, Rose. Yeah, do it. Do it. It won't hurt them. If they really can't talk to you, it's fine to find another doctor. Right. But at the same time, make your voice heard.
Of course.
Yeah, it's important as anybody, but especially if you're older.
Yeah. I think you bring a great light, because many times there's a big focus on our youth, right? And they are very important because they are a future, right? Yes. They're part of our future. And like you're saying, when we're thinking about our older adults, when we're thinking about our elderly, when we're thinking about our seniors, it's more of a worry less type of aspect, and they're okay and they can, take care of themselves. But that's the thing, there's areas, silent needs that we're not seeing and that we're missing, and that's impacting their quality of life.
Yes.
And so I think that's where a lot of individuals look at aging in this negative aspect. It's all part of the normal aging process when you're facing aches and pains, or when you're going through X or you're going through Y. But when we're helping improve the quality of life of individuals, imagine how much longer they could live, or how much more they could do, like you're saying, continuing to stay socially active, engaged in community events, and taking care of their health, their grandchildren, being able to do these different things. I think there's exactly what why you're here today and what you're doing for the community today is so important, because it's really to advocate for different things like that as well.
And grandchildren are a very important part of grandparents, because they're young, because they don't care if you can't hear them, because you're going to scream anyway. They're going to tell you they're hungry, or that they don't like something, or they do like something. Whereas an adult, it's kind of,
it's a little tricky.
I don't want to hurt grandma's feelings, but I really didn't like her beans. But a kid will go, oh, grandma, really, this is bad, and she's not going to be hurt by that, because it's her grandson or grandchild. So I think they're important. a church or a culture in our area. The church is very important to them. But just stopping and listening to them and looking at them, and you'd be surprised the feedback you get, the rewards of touching an older person's hand and saying, "Are you okay?
Right.
Are you having a good day? Or is there anything I can get you?" Making that phone call. And if it's nothing, it's nothing. You've made the call. They feel comfortable with that, and they've had some touch with you.
Even your neighbors, sometimes you think about someone that's living right next door that you've never talked to or visited with, acknowledged. And, like you're saying, just that simple, "Good morning. How are you doing today? Would you like me to go pick you up a gallon of milk or some eggs?" Just acknowledgement. I think that is the biggest thing.
And that's one thing that I do with this. We were walking in, and one of your workers was walking out, and he didn't look too happy. And I said, "Are you all right, buddy?" And he said, "Yes, I'm all right." I said, "Okay." Because I was going to say, "You can talk to me,"
Yes.
but it put a smile on his face that somebody was cared enough to say, "Are you all right?" He was, and I think that's important for any age.
Yeah, that communication of you don't think anyone's, you feel invisible for a moment. Just that little inkling of someone just caring a little bit.
Just caring a little bit.
And that's, I think, newsflash for all of us. We're all gonna be that age, so it's an awareness that you don't really get until you're like in your 50s or 60s, and you're like, well, suddenly I feel invisible. Suddenly I feel like.
I think it's a communication that everyone craves at some point, or that they need to have, no matter what age you are. You're gonna want someone to ask you how you're doing, or you want to start a conversation as well. That acknowledgement is important in a society and being social in a community. It's very important. Yes. We were talking about how our iPhones are like a huge thing that can help us out. I feel like one thing that gets lost a little bit is people in the older community that don't know how to use technology. I feel like that's one of the things that also can feel like we're leaving them behind a little bit when they don't know, grandma doesn't know how to text, grandpa doesn't know how to text or call or use a smartphone. So why bother? Right. But like how you're saying, grandchildren and the younger age are important because we can keep them up to date with technology,
right,
and that form of communication, so we don't lose touch from people. What are your thoughts on that?
Electronics are. I grew up with electronics, and it was a television and a radio. My husband did not grow up with a television; he grew up with a radio, and that was his link to the outside world. His church was his link to the outside world. For me, it was family. We always got together and had coffee or Saturday night barbecues or whatever. But we didn't have that screen in front of us or that little computer in our hands. There are people out there teaching how to use the computers, but it is complicated. I mean, I think even for me, I rely a lot on Maki, my assistant, to tell me how to do things, and she just takes the phone from me and does it, which is a lot easier, I think. But it's just a matter of, I know libraries in Cameron County have classes, and there are some senior centers that have computers available for people who don't and are trying to learn. Maybe some of these college kids need to go out in the world and realize what's happening out there, that there are a lot of people isolated because they don't have technology in front of them. They have a TV and that's their life,
That or it's intimidating.
Yes.
Because of the lack of knowing how to operate these things. It's like, it's too much.
Too much to learn.
It's too much to learn. My dad, he's in his 50s. He's not that old.
Right.
But he's very stubborn about it. He's just like, I don't want to learn this right now. Can you do it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I can do it for you, but if I could teach you, if you're patient with me, I could teach you how to use it also. but he's just stubborn.
Do you remember how many people used to call their kids about how to program the VCR?
Yes.
That was a big
Yeah.
deal.
Oh, yeah.
Call Junior. He knows how to do it. Okay, Grandma, I'm going to tell you now. Push the button. Remember that?
Yeah, the
we did it.
time on that VCR has said 7:30 since you bought the damn thing.
Yeah, right. Right.
Mhm.
And now we don't have that. We don't have to. Now it's a remote. My husband is, what button do I push?
Yes,
You know?
yes.
So
My
yeah.
dad's the same way. Like, and just to try to watch TV, it's like you have to operate two remotes.
Yeah, right.
One for the TV and one for whatever other device is connected to it.
Right.
And instead of like trying to find out, he's just like, mijo, just
do
find
it.
it.
Just do it.
I'm tired from work. Yada yada.
Yeah.
Just find it for me. Okay.
And my 55-year-old child, my husband's daughter, she says, you don't have to have two remotes. Okay, you come once or twice a year. I'm going to have two remotes because that's what I know how to use.
Mhm.
I can teach you. No. You don't have to teach me.
I already know how to use these.
I know how to use these. I'm all right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
When there's a new remote, come by and teach me how to use it, and then
Yeah.
we'll be good.
Exactly.
Hmm.
May I share something really
Absolutely.
quickly?
Absolutely.
I think by the time that we retire, there is that transition. And my father-in-law retired, and he is a very social person. And the one thing that really brought us together is when he said, I don't know anything about Facebook. I want to use it. All my friends are on Facebook. Can you teach me? And that's what we did. Every week he came to our house and I taught him. Then we would go out and he would teach me about plants because he was a master gardener and he would learn something, I would learn something. So like mentorship programs, I think that we need to really start focusing on that connection, that intergenerational connection, because little by little things happen. And
Yeah.
I know that we have a lot of programs in the libraries and also the university does some kind of social work through their programs, but that is an environment like when you have like 15 people and then, if they get to you. But if you are one-on-one and if you can actually sit down with someone and actually just listen and they will tell you what their needs are. The thing is that if you just sit down with a person, with you, I know, Rose, you would tell me. But there's people that are shy. They are embarrassed. There is a great stigma. You don't know computers. You don't know how to use the phone.
Yeah, it's almost like you're being shamed for it too. It's like, oh, you don't know how to use it. Well, why am I going to talk to you?
Yeah. And when we did the AARP survey, that was 1-to-1. Or at a table with 3 or 4 people, and they would talk among themselves about what would you like to see change, and that was a 1-to-1 thing. And I went to a lot of places that were housing places, events that had elderly people, and we did talk to them. We had a pad in front of us and a clipboard and paper and pencil, and we talked to them. And that's probably the only contact they had, but we did do that at that time as opposed to a telephone call or a computer or something like that. Yeah.
Something that I was going to say earlier in regards to the conversation is there's ageism in our community where you look at someone who looks older and you automatically start assuming things. They're not capable of learning new tricks, right? Or learning new information, like you're saying, with teaching them how to do a new skill or develop a new skill, new hobby, how to work a phone. And I think that's something else that we're needing to address in the community is ageism. So that way we realize just because you're older doesn't mean you can't. Right. And, Maki, I love that idea of how we're trying to use these intergenerational activities and opportunities to not only to show others, what our older adults are actually capable of through their personal experience, professional experience, their skills, their abilities, and really emphasizing that their abilities because they still are able. And I think that's, a huge aspect in regards to teaching one another something new.
Yeah.
Right?
Mentoring older folks, mentoring younger folks, and vice versa, I think is something that we really need to look at. If older folks go to a daycare every day like some of them do, they should certainly bring young people because they will teach you even how to throw a ball right. That's important because you still use those muscles, or how to read, that kind of stuff. I think that mentoring is a great idea. I'm going to go with something like that. I'm going to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the brain health, you guys have initiatives, and just to be able to make those new synaptic connections and to keep your brain healthy and the age that it should be. This really helps. Learning new skills, interacting in new ways. It's crucial, and it's again on both ends, because we forget again. Age is humbling. We're all going to get there.
We're all going to get there.
Oh,
we hope.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like the thing that happens is like the reason I feel like we degrade over time is because we stop learning, we stop being active, we stop having those things to motivate us to be active. Right. So yeah, of course, having these initiatives, having these groups, having these agencies to bring these things to light is indeed very important.
And on that note, are there any specific community programs that you've worked with or specific initiatives that you've participated in that have been really effective in improving the lives of older adults?
One of the biggest agencies in the Valley, and unfortunately not a lot of people know about it, is the Area Agency on Aging, AAA. And when you say AAA, you usually think of the red company with the towing.
The towing company.
And stuff. But it's not. It's an agency located in Weslaco. They have resources, and I want to say unlimited resources. They're the ones that can come in and change your bathroom into a handicapped bathroom that you can access. They can put you on the list or in contact with someone who can bring meals to your home or that you can pick up somewhere. They're the ones that have the transportation buses that can come pick you up at 2:30 so that you can be there for a 3 o'clock appointment. They're the ones that can find you special housing because you have a disability. You can't climb stairs anymore. They also have ramp. They can build ramps. They are in contact with contractors who building a ramp seems like an easy job, but it really isn't. I realized that when somebody tried to build one. It takes a lot of math, believe me. But that agency, they've got an 800 number. If you call them, you tell them what you're having problems with. I know that they visit hospitals when people are getting ready to be let go to homes, and they make arrangements. They help with all of that. That is one agency that we don't use enough in Cameron County, in all the counties. There are 226 agencies in the state of Texas called Area Agency on Aging. There's one in every county, and they are geared or ready to help somebody who is over, I believe it's 62, 65, and they can do, and if they can't help you, they know somebody who can. So that's a good start. And they are bilingual. They are, I don't think they're 24 hours. I don't think so. But they are available, provide you a nursing home, provide you a caregiver, provide you a home, those kinds of things that you may not think this, but a bathroom is an accident waiting to happen when you're old. Yeah. I mean, you can't just pick up that leg and go over the tub.
Right.
Yesterday, I was in my shower and the sprayer fell and it hit my head, and I was like, "My gosh, what to happen?" Right? You never think that. So there are things that happen that you don't expect.
Are there any other programs or initiatives that also come to mind?
So resources, Area Agency on Aging, but there's also a research resource with the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, here in Harlingen. It's with a Dr. Maestra. She worked very hard to get a 5-year grant and funded a building, staff, information, resources, telephones, whatever you needed. It was a big grant. And she is conducting research on Alzheimer's. As you know, Alzheimer's is part of dementia. And dementia is I think dementia is a huge umbrella.
Yes.
And there are different things. So she does a lot of research, and she has programs that people can apply for and see if they qualify, not financially. It has a lot to do with your particular background. My husband doesn't qualify because he's too old. Can you believe that? But, you have to be a certain age and
Right.
for the grant and stuff like that. So she has a wonderful program. The University of Houston School of Public Health has a lot of programs called Tu Salud Si Cuenta, and they put out cooking classes. They put out exercise, and they've even upgraded to include yoga, chair yoga for us people that are elderly. Chair yoga is a big deal. Pickleball, all those things that are coming up and are important to. You don't use as many muscles, I understand, for pickleball. I really don't know. I played tennis and I used a lot of muscles. But, the health and wellness of aged communities is very important to a lot of people. And there's a lot of resources. I mean, we've got big organizations that are based out of here, and without giving them some publicity, they are available for people. You just have to know where those resources are. And frankly, you can call Healthy Communities of Brownsville, and we will try to give you information, or you're going to put it on this podcast,
Absolutely.
what we have available. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's connecting,
It's connecting.
with
Yeah, right.
one person who might have connection for someone else and something else and this resource or that. And that's sometimes all that we have to do.
That's all we have to do.
Now, Ms. Moraida, you are part of a program that deals with this as well. Do you have any services that you would like to share that either you can reference to or talk about here as well?
Yes. So as one of many different wonderful organizations that are here in our community, we are able to help Cameron County residents through 2 different programs. One of them is focused on the senior support aspect. And so anyone who is 60 years and older can be connected to our senior support specialist, who are these resource connectors, exactly what Ms. Timmer is bringing up today, where, if you're having trouble with home modifications, or you're having trouble with obtaining, meal deliveries or benefits, counseling, needing further information in regards to, any questions, concerns, what you're facing at home, we're able to kind of help navigate through that. And exactly what Ms. Timmer said, if we don't have that resource, we can help connect you to someone that can offer that. And so that's through our senior support program. And then we have one that's specifically for individuals with dementia or those that are caregivers for someone with dementia. And so like Ms. Timmer was saying, dementia is this umbrella term that defines, someone that's having not only memory loss, but these issues with functionality and cognition and all these other aspects. So Alzheimer's is one of these different types of dementias, but someone that's facing vascular dementia is another thing. So if, you have high blood pressure, diabetes, your chances of developing this type of dementia is increased, but no one, or sometimes individuals don't realize this. There's individuals with frontotemporal dementia, Lewy body, mixed dementia, and so many others. But nonetheless, in regards to dementia, if someone is facing, issues with, I can't catch a break, I'm always with my loved one who needs, 24/7 supervision, and I can't go to the grocery store, I can't go, out with friends and have time for myself as an individual, we help connect individuals with respite care, mental health services. We currently do have a memory cafe where we are engaging individuals with dementia and their caregivers into these different activities, where we have these cooking classes for them, where we have painting, physical activity, we have music therapy. And so we're very excited about that. And that's all that we're trying to do is, once again, bring that acknowledgement into the community, continue including, everybody, all individuals into these different activities and opportunities, and making sure that everyone feels seen and is helped in one way or another. And so I hope that helps. But yeah, that's just a little snippet.
Yeah.
Anything else that we want to talk about today?
Stay young.
Stay young.
Think young.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can. And I think you see some 90-year-olds that are riding a bike, playing tennis, and
Super agers.
super agers, we call them. Yes. And you think, how did he get there? And he said, I get out of bed every morning, I'm going to do something. Great. That's a great mental attitude, but we all don't have it. Some days you get out of bed and you go, oh no, it's raining outside, it's cloudy, I'm going back to bed.
We're all built a little different.
Yeah,
sometimes.
we're all built a little different. So yeah, there are some people out there that are very, very active.
And you never know if you're going to change someone's life. That's another thing I have learned, is that it's the little things. It's not. You don't have to promise the world. You just need to look at someone, give them your hand, help them, and ask them, like what Rose did today. Are you all right? Do you need help? And say it in a way that person knows that you mean it. Because many people will say, hi, how you doing? And they don't really, that's just a standard greeting.
Yeah.
But being able to really connect, that's a rarity. And I think Miss Timmer has that in spades. And I think in order to work
Sometimes it gets me in trouble.
That's right. But why not? It's good trouble. It's good trouble.
It's better to do it and apologize for it later, Say I'm sorry.
I go out to dinner. We eat out a lot, my husband and I, because I don't like to cook. But when I was out with my sisters, and I'll stop somebody and say, well, thank you for picking up that trash. I really am glad you did that. And my sister, oh my God, oh Rose, why do you do that? You're so embarrassing. What's the matter with you? Don't talk to strangers. Blah 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 blah. I get in trouble.
I don't see how you could get in trouble for that.
I think somebody would appreciate that they picked up, that I saw they picked up trash.
You're welcome, It's either that or you give someone lechas ojo,
That's right.
It's good social etiquette to praise things like that. It's little things like that motivate people to continue doing these things.
So how are we doing?
I think we're doing fine.
I just have one more question. And it's just kind of like the conclusion.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
So what is one thing you would recommend to any listeners right now regarding how we can support older adults in our own communities?
Don't look at an older adult as a burden, but as a opportunity to talk to them, to make them a second. It'll take 2 seconds to say, how you doing? Or what are you up to today? What are you up to do today? Oh, look at those flowers. They look pretty. Even if they're wearing shoes that you like, tell them you like their shoes. You'd be surprised. I was at a rodeo and this girl she looked like $1,000,000. And again, I was with my sisters and I said to the girl, hey, I said, I like the way you look. And she was like, oh, she grew 3 inches, I think, when I told her that. So it's important that we look at people kinder. I think we need to be kinder and have that in the back of our heads, that everybody's carrying some baggage, some way, somehow. The 4 of us here have our own stories, and you just want to make the few minutes that you have with them happy. So I just think we need to be kinder and be healthier about it.
Make every moment count.
Make every moment count.
I would only say that when I look at a person now, it's mostly due to Rose, because when I met her, everybody said this woman, she is extremely, she's a force of nature. Someone to have is a great person to have on your side, a great resource. But you also have to see the person, and you have to know what your moment is with them and what it means to them. I had a grandfather that basically saved my life because I was completely deaf, and my family ostracized. It was, when you have people in your family that have an older way of thinking, so they like to hide things, or they it's not looked upon kindly in your community. I'm from Serbia, and he would, because he had experiences in his life, he would take me everywhere, and he would not hide me. He would be proud of me, and he taught me to love life and to love stars. We did stargazing on our farm every night, and you learn the value of having that experience. And you never know who or what the person that you're speaking with has in their universe. In their life, in the back of their mind. It's the whole person that you need to see, not just the surface. We are surface loving these days, and life is not half as interesting. It's infinitely more interesting if you look below that.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think it's time to show how proud we are of our older adults in the community and be champions for them.
Right. Be champions, advocates for them, and speak up for them, like this podcast.
Exactly. Because we're all aging.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
We hope we're all aging, right?
We all come from different walks of life, and we all have different experiences. And I think it's a privilege for us to be able to learn these experiences from whoever it is that we come in contact with, no matter what age they are.
No matter.
They could be the youngest person you've ever met or the oldest person you've ever met. But we all have a story to tell, and that's what we're here to do. So
Thank you.
Thank you all
for having
joining
us.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure to have you guys here, you ladies. And thank you so much to our listeners out there. Shiann?
Yes, I just want to say thank you so much for the monumental work that you're doing, Ms. Timmer.
Thank you.
For our community. It is so important, and I think our listeners will take some very important information with them today.
Absolutely.
Thank
all
you
our
for having
listeners.
us.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Health Yes. Remember, stay safe, stay healthy, stay educated, and talk to your elders.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Stay educated. I like that.
It's my tagline for how I end every
You
episode.
have a wonderful voice.
Thank you.
Thank you.